Hey, what is going on, guys? Today we're taking a look at a couple of kits here from the Moderoid line from Good Smile Company. There are new kits out from the Patlabor series, a series that I'm not really all that familiar with, to be honest. I've never seen it. I just think that some of the mecha designs are pretty cool. So they've recently come out with two. Here we have, in the first set that we're going to be taking a look at here today, is the Ingram and Bulldog set. So it's the two of these mechas here in the box. We'll take a look at those. They're in 1/60 scale. And then tomorrow, in the next video, we'll take a look also at the Helldiver, which came out just as a kit on its own here, which does also look very cool. So the Helldiver, look forward to that tomorrow. Today, let's focus here on these, and once again, these are in 1/60 scale, but don't get that confused with 1/60 scale Gundam kits, which are larger. These, I would expect, are probably going to be around the same size as like a 1/100 scale Gundam, probably around the size of like a Master Grade, something like that. I'm thinking, probably, expecting for these, but I'm not sure. The box is not all that big, so I don't really expect it that the kits will be that big, but I also don't really expect that there's a lot of parts in here necessarily like a Master Grade. There's no like full inner frame or anything like that, but let's go ahead and check it out and see what we got inside the box. And just a reminder to you guys that we've got all of the Moderoid kits there at USA Gundam Store, so check the link down in the video description to USA Gundam Store. And also my coupon code is there for you guys to use as well, so check that out and check out these kits there if you're interested. So really cool box art here on this. This is a really nice painting illustration there of the two fighting there, and you've got some other people kind of around in their cars and stuff here in the foreground. So it's a really cool picture illustration here for the front of the box art, very striking. You got kind of the same thing there on the sides, on the top, just a cool Patlabor Mobile Police logo there, and the same thing around on the other sides. We'll just have another different cropping of the box art image there on this side. On the back here, we've got a look at the two, so there's what the two kits are going to look like. They do look pretty nice and nicely detailed. Over here you can see you can make a couple different variations of that depending on whichever you prefer. And then there's a look just at what you get included with this. Looks like you get a number of different weapons there, basically a shotgun, handgun, like the baton thing, and then a couple of different hand parts, two different head option parts, two different shoulder parts, so you can choose between those. And opening it up here, I always find that the Moderoid kits boxes feel a little bit cheap. They're very thin. Alright, so let's see what we got here. Looks like just a little guide there for decal placement, basically. And in here right off the bat, we've got our stickers and decals and stuff. So here's a look at the included waterslide decals, looking very nice. You got some there for like the license plate kind of thing, and then some large numbers and logo markings on there, and little little triangle bits on there. And then over here you got some just regular stickers, which are for the Bulldog, I believe. In this case, they're just stickers, unfortunately, not waterslide decals. And we've got two different sets of instructions, because if I remember correctly, I believe the Ingram you could get by itself, but I believe the Bulldog only comes in this set, if I'm correct about that. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the only way to get the Bulldog is with this set. Otherwise, if you're only interested in the Ingram, you can get that separately. I think so. Let's take a look at the Ingram's instruction manual on here first. And there you go. On the front, you got the different artwork, obviously. And then, let's see, here we go. There's a look at what that's going to look like, all painted up front and back, and the Ingram 2 down there. So you can choose, and then where the decals are all going to go on there. Over here is your parts list, where all that stuff is laid out. And then after that, it's just straight on into the construction, and it looks like, once again, in this case, all of the instructions are all in color, so that's nice, very convenient. So everything's all very simple. You can tell exactly what runners the parts are from just based on the color, basically, so that makes it a lot easier. As for the Bulldog manual, it is looking a little bit simpler here, as it's just got like kind of these monochrome images there of that on the front. It is still in full color though, as we can see. You got the parts list over here. Yeah, and no marking guide for that, so I guess it'll just show you where to place those stickers kind of as we're going along. It looks like, yeah, here at the end, where to place those stickers on there, just for those big like caution stripe bits. And that's pretty much it, so let's go ahead and check out the runners. Right, so we'll go through all the Ingram parts here first. So here we have runner A, and as you can see, it's in this slightly off-white color. And then runner B as well for some of the larger pieces of armor, as you can see on there. And I can tell that already from just the size of some of these parts that it's going to be more similar to like a HD 144 scale Gundam kit rather than a 100 scale Gundam kit. It's going to be a little bit smaller than I expected. We're going to see here for some more armor pieces on there. You got your hand parts on there as well too, which look to be like all kind of basically molded in one piece for the most part, a few of them anyway, or just a couple pieces. And then runner D, some more white pieces on there, including your little antenna pieces, so be very careful with those. You've got two of this D runner. And the last of our off-white parts here looks like mostly for shoulder armor parts here on the E runner. Runner F is going to be in this purplish gray color here for some joint parts. As you can see, we've got 2 of the F runner. Runner G in that same color, a little bit larger runner here, has some more joint parts and things, then also some weapons parts on here as well too, so those are going to be molded in the same color. Unfortunately, I would preferred, at least if you're planning on not painting the kit, that the weapons would be molded in a different color from like the joints of the main body of the mecha, but anyway. Runner H has some parts here in black, including the little police kind of star little bit there, which is pre-painted in gold for you, so that looks nice. Here you can see at least the pistol is molded in black, so that's pretty good. And then runner I for some more joint parts and things like that here. Finally, runner J is our clear parts, and we've got 2, one in plain clear if you prefer, and the other that has some pre-painting of some clear red and clear green on there if you wanted to use those. Those look nice. Now moving on to the Bulldog parts. These are labeled with the B and then the letter, so BA, BB, BC for example. Here's our BA, and so you can see lots of really nice detail on these parts. That looks really good. Runner BB, some larger armor pieces for the shoulders maybe it looks like, and legs anyway. We got 2 of this BB runner. And then runner BC, some more yellow pieces. We've got 2 of this BC runner as well. Runner BD is going to be some of our joint parts. In this case, it's in like a dark olive green kind of color. And the same color here for runner BE. We've got 2 of these for some more of our joint parts. And lastly, runner BF for our couple of clear parts there for the Bulldog. So there's all the parts, guys, and I gotta say, it's looking quite nice, just based on what I can tell from the parts. They do look like it's gonna be a very nicely detailed kit, and the molding, everything looks good. It all just comes down to the fit. On building the Moderoid Strelitzia, I did have a little bit of fitting issues with that kit, but this, so far, I mean, it looks pretty good. So let me just go ahead and get these put together, and then we'll see how they go. Alright guys, so here is just the Ingram. We'll take a look at this first and then we'll look at the Bulldog afterwards. But I've gone ahead and built this up as the Ingram 1, so the shoulders and the head are slightly different between the Ingram 1 and Ingram 2 variants that you can make with this set, but I'll show you those parts here in a minute as well. Also, I've used the clear colored parts, as you guys saw in the unboxing. There are clear parts for the visor and the shoulders that are just plain clear if you want to paint them in a different color, so that's a cool option. But of course, just for the straight out of the box build like this, just snapping the kit up, I went ahead and went with the clear color parts. Those look really nice on there. The clear red on the shoulders looks really nice. The clear green for the visor looks really nice. The kit's definitely smaller than I was expecting, but it's not that bad. It's basically about the same size as your typical HG Gundam kit for the most part. It does have a good amount of detail on there as well too, and a few little parts and things like that add some nice little details to it. And I think basically it's going to do kind of everything that you should basically want an Ingram kit to do, so I think it's pretty successful in that. We'll take a look at all the gimmicks and everything here in just a second, but just right off the bat, first impression is it's a pretty nice kit, so let's go ahead and take a closer look. So for the head, there is the Ingram 1, and here's the Ingram 2 type. The fin off the top of the head is basically the same. You can see it's just got a little bit different kind of design on that, and also just the face is going to be kind of the main difference. For me, I definitely prefer the look of the Ingram 1, but there's the look at that too. The antenna also kind of basically the same on the side of there also. And speaking of antenna, the antenna there on the side of the body, also you have an extra of that part. It's one of the few leftover parts you have with this kit, but a very useful leftover part, because if you end up accidentally breaking that or something, you've got a spare, so just make sure you hang on to that. And then also here is the shoulder armor for the Ingram 2 as well. You can see it's just a little bit different in its design, but again, I definitely prefer the look of the Ingram 1, but you'll just have to swap out the clear parts depending on which version you want to use for that. For the hands for the kit, aside from just these regular closed fists, you've also got a set of just open hands like this, which could be good for like rifle support hands basically. You've also got a set of holding hands like this, which will basically be used for your baton. And then trigger finger hands as well. With all these, you got them for the left and the right side that you can use. So for the baton, you have the stored version kind of up there inside the shield like that, but then you have the extended version, which is going to be the one that you'll hold in the hand just right here. It's just one single piece, very simple. And you've also got your tiny little revolver there, which looks like it would be like a little armory kind of weapon, but anyway, this can store in the side of the leg. You just open that up on the side of the leg there and pop this down into place. There we go, so that's stored up in there like that. Now, as you know, you're meant to like extend the hand down to grab that, so we have an extension part here for the hand that you can use for that. So you can take this part out of here and then attach your hand back into that, so it's really just an extension piece here. So just be careful with that, and then you can have it looking like it's reaching down to grab the pistol out of the side of the leg there, which is pretty cool. Now on that note too, just real quick, only this leg opens up, this side doesn't open up, that's just one solid piece. And then finally we have our shotgun here as well too. The back of this can fold back like that for when you want to have this in hand, in use. Basically it's two halves sandwiched together just here on this part of the body right there, so you will have a little bit of a seam line on that, but otherwise it's basically pretty simple. I mean, nicely detailed, but there's not really a whole lot to it, just a couple of pieces, but it looks pretty good. And I mean, it's the kind of thing that if you weren't going to use this with this particular kit, you could use it with a different Gundam kit, or it would actually look really good with a Full Metal Panic kit or something like that. If you had one of those, I think this would work out pretty well, because they're all basically around the 1/44 scale. I mean, in their size, they're all different scales in that case, but in the general size, this would work really well with your 1/44 scale Gunpla or anything similar to that size. As for the articulation, then let's take a look at that. The head will go up to there, which is nice and far, and you got some nice piston detail up inside there as well too, and then all the way down to there, and of course just it's on a ball joint, so looking left and right, all that. In the midsection here, you've got basically a ball joint connecting that, so you can move that forward and back, and then a little bit side to side, and rotation there as well too. And all of these parts that make up like kind of like the cloth covering parts in between the joints and everything, they look pretty good, I gotta say, they look nice. Then as for our shoulder articulation, those will swing very far forward to the front like that, which is pretty nice. Back though, nothing really. The shoulder arm itself will move up and down like so. You can bring the arms out like that at this joint inside the body there. So again, just real quick, that all moves out. You can bring that out and then bring the arm up, ultimately to about there, which is pretty nice and high. It looks a bit weird. All this stuff just kind of doesn't really look all that natural, but again, you can do that. You got some rotation here in the arm as well too, kind of above the elbow joint, and then our elbow joint itself will move to about 90 degrees like that. It's going to be about the extent of that. And the wrist is just on a ball joint there. Going down here to the hip section, the legs will be able to come out to about there before these large panels on the side of the thighs are going to be kind of running into the hip section there, but then moving them forward and back, obviously not going to be any issue there. You got some rotation here at the top of the leg as well, and then when you bend the leg, you're going to be able to bend it to only kind of about 90 degrees like that. But we do have this other part in here, which is a replacement part here for this part at the back of the leg. So you swap this part out for this much smaller version, and then you're able to get much more of a knee bend there, which is looking much better like that. So no separation of this knee armor, that's just all connected here with the lower leg, so that'll just move together, but a pretty nice knee bend there. And then down here above the ankle, you've got this little bit of armor that will move a little bit up and down like that. And these feet, which look very much like the Gundam Heavy Arms, I'm noticing, the Heavy Arms custom feet, but those will move, the front half of the foot will move on its own a little bit like that, so a little bit of a toe bend, and then the whole foot can move front and back and side to side a little bit as well there too. So that works pretty well. And then up underneath the feet, you got some nice detail there also. So overall, I gotta say, very positive thoughts here on the Ingram. It's pretty solid little kits, and you know, nothing really too special. I'm not sure how it's really gonna compare to like Bandai's Master Grade version. I gotta imagine that's probably much more detailed. It's probably a little bit larger as well too. So there's probably some pros and cons there between the two of them. And this one being from Good Smile Company, probably a little bit more expensive for the size. So price comparing between the two, I would say Bandai is probably going to be your better option, but having not built that one yet, I can't say that, you know, with ultimate certainty. I'm going to say that I'm sure there's pros and cons between the two of them. And aside from the Master Grade, I mean, there's a number of other different kits as well too that I believe are just like non-grade kits basically, but I believe those are older and probably a little bit more basic and not probably as nice in terms of their overall proportions and details. This one, I gotta say, definitely the thing that I like about this is the proportions and details, everything are really nice as well too. It's got really great proportions. It looks really nice, and once it's painted up, I mean, even just straight out the box, it looks good because it's basically, for the most part, pretty color accurate, aside from just painting in a few little details and everything, some panel lining and all that. But once it's painted up, it's going to look really nice as well too. You get some nice shading in there and just a little bit of weathering here and there. It's going to look really, really nice, I think. But as for the Bulldog here, that is, and it looks really nice again on the outside. Pretty basic in the construction though. You can definitely tell that this was like an add-on to the Ingram kit and never like meant to be released as like a separate thing on its own. Otherwise, I think they probably would have put a little bit more kind of engineering into it. But it's a relatively simple design anyway, so there's not really too much else to do with it other than what they did. So I think it was a really good choice to add this in as like a, for this to be able to be available as a set. Just selling this on its own, like I said, I think just the design doesn't really necessarily call for too much more to be involved with this, so I think it's a really good set anyway. And so for this, we don't have any accessories or anything, just what you see is what you get with that. I did put the stickers on there, and I mean, they look fine if you're going to be painting this, or if you're not going to be painting this and you're just going to be building it just straight out the box. Slap the stickers on there, maybe a little bit of panel lining. If you got like a brown panel line pen or something, just panel line some of that in, that'll look pretty nice. And if you are going to put on some top coat, of course, don't forget to take off these clear parts before you spray your top coat on there, otherwise you're going to have a very foggy canopy. But inside there, you can see you do have some nice detail up inside there, and just all around here, some nice detail. Not really much in the way of any seam lines here around on the upper body or arms, really kind of only have them here right on the lower leg part. Unfortunately, it's just 2 halves, so you got big seam line going through all of that. That's going to be a little bit of a pain, but otherwise that's kind of the only one that you do really have to worry about, so it could be worse. As for the articulation, obviously there's no head, so here in the midsection it just basically rotates. That's all that's going to do. Then at the shoulders as well too, it's just going to rotate a little bit. That's all that does. You can bring the arms up to about there, and then down to here, and then you've got some rotation here at the upper arm as well too. And this one I'm feeling especially does kind of, as you're moving stuff around, it tends to get loose kind of pretty easily, so just make sure you're moving things around carefully. The elbow bend is going to be a little bit more than 90 degrees there. That's looking pretty cool. And the hand is just one solid piece on a ball joint, so you can kind of move that around a little bit. The fingers aren't any more articulated than that, so you just got kind of this fixed claw shape there, but I mean, it is nicely detailed. It only just has this little hollow gap there on the inside. And down here at the legs, again, pretty basic, just some rotation there, some movement out and in, and then some rotation there at the top. Your knee joint is going to give you a pretty good bend there, much, I was going to say much more than 90 degrees, a little bit more than 90 degrees, like that. And then the ball joint just for the ankles, that's simple, that'll just move around, up and down like that. But underneath the feet, no detail there, it's just a big empty thing. So again, like I said, this is going to be very basic in terms, I mean, compared to the Ingram, but still, it's a nice thing to have along with it. But so there you have it, guys. I gotta say, if you're a fan of this series, definitely worth checking out these kits. They seem very cool. I've never really been into Patlabor. It's not something that I've ever even seen. I have no background experience or knowledge about the series at all, but I can still appreciate these designs. They're very cool mecha designs, and the relatively small scale of them should make them pretty fun and easy to build into like a diorama or something. Again, like the Bandai Master Grade, I think, is much larger. So this one being a little bit smaller, it'd be easier to build a like street scene diorama around these. I think would be very cool, something fun to do if you're into that sort of thing. It's not necessarily something that I would do, but I think these would definitely be great for that if you were so inclined. But of course, let me know if you guys have any other further questions or comments about this set down in the comment section below. Up next, we'll be taking a look at the Helldiver kit as well too. I'm excited for that. That one looks pretty cool. But for now, guys, again, if you want to check out the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store, you can check these kits out and everything else there on the site. And you can save 10% off everything there using my coupon code ZakuAurelius10. That's also down in there in the video description, so check that out too. Until next time, guys, hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for your support. I'll see you all later. Bye, guys.